G'day, mate. 40 here. So, I was just, what was I doing? Over the weekend, I was reading a book on Alexander Technique by Penelope Easton. And she mentions early on in the book how she recovered from chronic fatigue syndrome by something called Mickle therapy. Why aren't I centered in this picture? Okay. So, I'd never heard of Mickle therapy. And so, I've struggled with chronic fatigue syndrome since I was 21. I was basically bedridden from age 21 to 27 with chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's kind of a weird thing that no one really knows what it is. So you certainly can't expect much sympathy and empathy for having chronic fatigue syndrome. So it's not something I talk about very much. And so I never heard of Mickle therapy, Mickel. So I looked it up, and apparently you write down your symptoms. So you might feel fatigue, you might feel blotto. So, for example, before I did my stream with Duvid yesterday, I was just feeling really blah. So you write down your symptoms, and then you write about what you were thinking, feeling, and doing just prior to the symptoms, and then you try to make different choices. And the developer of Mickle therapy apparently has worked with thousands of people, and he says that about 77% of them recover. So I'm incredibly intrigued. So I spent much of the weekend looking up Mickle therapy. And there was one thing he said that particularly grabbed my attention, and that was that his patients go from happy but sick to well and unhappy. So, in other words, he pushes them to spend much more time and attention on what's negative in their life. So, my inclination is to not spend time on what's negative and painful in my life and to simply focus on what's good in my life. And I think I need to spend more time paying attention to what's negative and painful in my life. So there are certain failures in my life, and don't think I want to list them, but heck, maybe I will. So I'm a bachelor, and certainly as an Orthodox Jew, that's a major failure in my life. So bachelorhood, failure, right? And that's the outcome. But the ultimate cause of that, is many steps up the chain. Something about my predispositions towards selfishness, maybe some antisocial tendencies, desire just to do my own thing, self-seeking, perhaps unwillingness to compromise for the sake of other people, not having paid sufficient attention to earning a good living so that I could support a family because I just so wanted to do my own thing, like live streaming. Perhaps it's a result of me having delusions about my abilities as a live streamer, and so putting perhaps more time and emphasis on live streaming when I should have spent more time earning in more prosaic ways. So maybe living in delusion is a significant part of the reason why I'm a bachelor at age 55. So thinking I should spend more time facing up to what's painful and negative in my life, just writing it down. I'm 55 years of age, don't have a lot of money saved for retirement. I've got, about $14,000 saved for retirement. I'm currently, the last few years, I've only been saving money at a rate of about $3,000 a year. So I've made some changes, and now I'm on a pace of saving money at about $10,000 a year. So I think I'm going to spend a little more time, facing up to what's painful and negative in my life, and just journaling about it, not staying focused on it all my waking hours, but spending a little bit more time on, okay, there's a failure here, there's a failure here, there's a problem here, there's an aching, awning chasm here in my life, and let me just journal about it, and let's just say that's the outcome, and then keep going back to the deepest cause, because things like bachelorhood, that's a symptom, right? That's a symptom of, I think, generally a selfish, self-seeking life. Poverty, again, is a symptom of a selfish, self-seeking life, not being sufficiently interested in being of service to other people, just wanting to do my own thing. And so I think I could probably trace back almost all my problems to a root cause of a selfishness and a self-seeking attitude and an inflexibility in my interactions with other people. So I was very struck by David Mickle, MD, stating that his chronic fatigue syndrome patients went from feeling happy but sick to feeling well but unhappy. So when they were sick, they would try to practice the power of positive thinking, which I'm sure has its places. I'm sure there's room for positive thinking, and there are some benefits for it. And I enjoy being a happy guy 95% plus of the time. I feel good about myself 99% of the time. But I think I need to spend more time journaling about what's negative, journaling about, say, symptoms of fatigue or headaches or sleeplessness or selfishness, and journal about the symptoms that I'm feeling. Then journal about what I was thinking, feeling, and doing just prior to these symptoms. And then journaling about, okay, what are some different choices I could make? Because like there may be perfectly nice people that after I finish talking with them, I just feel absolutely exhausted. So I may need to exercise, better energy management. Like, okay, I notice that whenever I talk to this person, I get exhausted. Maybe I need to make a different choice, or I tend when I'm struggling to just ignore things and just keep pushing, and maybe when stress and problems and failures like build up, instead of push through them, I need to take some time out to pray about them, meditate about them, or just cut myself a break and rest. And you recall when I had chronic fatigue syndrome at its most severe, and all of my life since age 21 or even before that, whenever I was doing things that I loved, I always had more energy than when I was doing things that I didn't love. So of course, many of the things that I love are really bad for me, but there are some things that I love that are good for me. And so I know there are certain things that I do that make me feel alive. And so I can spend more time doing things that I love that make me feel more alive, more energized. And I can choose those moments of excited interest to investigate topics and books and essays rather than trying to push myself, to slog through a book or an essay, but seize that moment of excited interest when I'm happy and enthused and yearning to tackle this particular book. So yeah, doing what I love, I notice, tends to produce more happiness and more energy, and just pushing myself. There's a place for that, but I just can't let that slogging build up, because it does tend to build. So maybe I need to take a little more time out for the power of negative thinking, just face up to what's painful in my life, where I'm failing in my life, and perhaps look at these symptoms of fatigue, just feeling blotto, and trace back the causes. Like I notice often when I've been working for somebody else, say in a job that I find boring or just a slog, that I often develop headaches and neck aches and back aches and shoulder aches. Then as soon as I walk out of the job, I feel fine. I feel great. So I need to switch into a mindset where I'm approaching that sort of work, much more positively. Like, okay, I'm here to be of service. This is a way for me to make money so that I can be an upstanding adult. Let's charge into this and do good work, because this will also expand my earning opportunities. Because when I'm in that kind of slog mindset, this is just onerous duty, then I develop all these like physical symptoms of, headaches and backaches and shoulder aches. So I need to move into that, excited, energized. Let's be of service. Let's get things done. Let's, move ahead with my life. Let's seize these adult opportunities.